And, of course, many of them had pretty nice hats.
Well, thank you, Gerald Bodyface, royal correspondent and close personal friend with a corgi named Terence. You're listening to Radio Flange Goblet's endless and unwieldy coverage of the royal wedding, which started 15 weeks ago with an interview with a man who once cuffed near Meghan Markle, who I'm now told by reliable people is going by the name of Harry, in a Walmart in 2002, and his auntie, who was a big fan of the show Suits. I mean, who wasn't? But now, before we have to have a break in our coverage for the after-movie diner, all right, admittedly nobody's favorite show, and between you and me, we did petition the Radio Flange Goblet board to do away with it this week and move it to a 4 a.m. slot or something, but they refused, the cowards. Someone at the show must have slept with a board member or something. Ugh, despicable. Anyway, before that, we have Colin Weewee-Gums, who has been in the royal circle for many years, worked at the palace, apparently touched the Queen's felt coat when rearranging her laundry, ooh, and once had a cup of tea adjacent to Princess Anne at an all-you-could-finger pig roast in Cornwall.
Well, a lot of people will be able to tell you all about the official pomp and circumstance that happens around a royal wedding. Traditions old and various, like the picking of the royal chrysanthemums for the prospective groom's footbath, right down to the many diverse and peculiar hats, which people don't seem to be able to stop going on about all over the place. But how many people know about the plucking of the Dutch ostrich, for example, or the enraging, with a haddock and a discount coupon for further haddock, of the royal plastic cup guard Lionel? I mean, how many people even knew there was a royal plastic cup guard Lionel? Well, except me, of course. Me and Lionel used to double date back in the day, used to take our ladies lawn bowling and so on. What about the wedding eve ritual involving Prince Philip, a pair of clown shoes, 2 industrial wit springs, and a large flaming pitcher of Cilla Black? I mean, it's quite a sight to see him bouncing around the royal gardens, flinging mildly racist epithets about the place with gay abandon.
Well, that's fascinating, Colin. What else goes into the preparations for a royal nuptials such as these?
Well, you can't even begin to think of planning a day like Saturday without the grooming of the royal grandchildren's dentist-stuffed deer's leg lamp, or indeed the ceremonial and traditional murray dance, which is like a maypole dance meets a Morris dance, but with a lot more eels. I have to say, one of my favourite sights from before Charles and Diana's special day as a young lad was to watch the heavily thighed men in their crisp Morris whites, sweaty of the gusset and with really quite broad necks, stringing together the royal eels and then chasing the parlour maids with them until they all had to be hosed down with warm ink and perform the ritualistic dance, everyone bare-chested in the moonlight, with the eels confused, blinded, and thrashing about on the ground. It's truly, truly marvellous. Then there's the tickling of the velvet ottoman, the raking of the Queen's back leaves.
Well, that's amazing, Colin.
The trumpet sex, where the mounted guardsmen have sex for Prince Andrew's pleasure with a line of specially polished trumpets.
I'm sorry, that's all we have time
for. The sacrificial burial alive of 17 virginal puffins.
Jesus Christ, cut his mic, crazy limey fruit. Anyway, now it's time, as I said before, for the after-movie diner, which this week comes from a fish and chip shop in Sheringham, where the manager said that the Duke and Duchess of Kent once frequented to savour a mince beef pie each and run a night-long cockfight that ended in a drunken sing-along of Neil Sedaka songs, and with the Duke comparing his member in length with a battered Savoy.
You're listening to the After Movie Diner with your host, Jon Cross.
That's right, I am your host, Jon Cross, and I'm sitting on my own specially prepared buttocks. They're not fake. Hello, ladies, pickle jar enthusiasts whose name begin with H, lovers of extreme nasal activities, people tired and beaten up after endless royal wedding coverage, men who like to be bathed upright in vats rather than horizontal in bathtubs, cats of indeterminate gut width, prop brass effigies of long-forgotten music hall celebrities paraded by their distant relatives at a specially arranged Blackpool parade behind an old Thresher's wine shop and a closed-down wide pants emporium, people who form human pyramids, people who ignore human quadrangles, and people who never took geometry and who cry themselves to sleep some nights nerds, believing they're missing out on a world of unity and acrobatics based on the bizarre history of humans trying to form shapes with other humans. Welcome one, and welcome very much all. Before we get started with this week's show, a reminder that you can support the podcast over at patreon.com/aftermoviediner. That's patreon.com/aftermoviediner. And not only get some great rewards, but get the personal reward of knowing you paid it forward once, and then you can smugly lord your goodness over your friends at your next monthly backgammon and sour skittles social. You can also go to aftermoviediner.com and click on the Amazon link in the top right-hand corner before you do your Amazon shopping. It costs you absolutely no extra, but for everything you buy, Amazon kicks us a few shiny coins. Finally, you can go to miskplumbingfixtures.bandcamp.com. That's MISC plumbingfixtures.bandcamp.com and buy the latest album from Miscellaneous Plumbing Fixtures Former Glory, which features the wonderful Dr. Console on keys, Johnny the Horns Cole on brass and also the keys, and the clear, bright Freedom Pipes of Jay Mayo on backing vocals. It's just $6 for 16 tracks, and every penny goes back to keeping AfterMovieDiner.com and this podcast alive. The album is also available on Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, Amazon, and wherever music is found. So go take a listen or go buy an album. That would be amazing. Please help us out wherever you can, and if you can't, please at least rate and review us wherever the podcast is found and help spread the word. And with that, let's start off Sleazy Spader Springtime 3, 'Tis the Sleazon. Every year you wait anxiously for us to do this, well at least Andy Lunn does, and so we couldn't exactly disappoint you all. So let's head now to the Square Diner for this year's inaugural episode of Sleazy Spader Springtime 2018, 'Tis the Sleazon! Oh, it's Sleazy Spader Springtime. Welcome to the show. Oh, it's a Sleazy Spader Springtime. I want you all to know that if you please, there's James Spader Sleaze, it's got nowhere else to go. So loosen all your blouses, give your nose a damn good blow. It's Sleazy Spader Springtime show. Oh yeah, it is Sleazy Spader Springtime show. Hello and welcome to the large After Movie Diner. That's large with 4 A's.
4 A's.
I am Jon 4 A's Cross. That man's got 4 A's. That'd be disgusting.
Yeah. Or it could have been because you make 4 A's into the parts of movies that other reviewers dare not.
I make forays. Or I like Dawn of the Dead starring Ken Foree. Anyway.
Foree, eh? In Canada, he'd be known as Ken Foree, eh?
Correct, Ken Foree, eh? Here we are in the Square Diner.
Square.
Which is in Tribeca, technically.
On the corner of West Broadway and Varick.
Yeah, right. Named after the classic film Charlie Varick, starring
Walter Matthau?
Walter Matthau.
That's Charlie Varick. Is that it for your trivia? Is that your lot?
No, that's it.
That is it.
No, it's not.
Should we count ourselves lucky? I feel like I'm lucky.
Lucky.
That's the only trivia there is.
The only
That's
trivia.
trivia.
And tonight it's the first episode of 2018's Sleazy Spader Springtime.
I'm very honoured to be here.
And we're right back in the same diner where we were last year, discussing White Palace.
White Palace with Susan Sarandon, right?
Whereas tonight we're discussing Starcrossed. Starcrossed, right? That's what it was called?
Yes, I believe it was.
Starcrossed?
Starcrossed.
What did I think it was called that I kept getting it wrong? I forget. You wouldn't know because I kept getting it wrong in my head.
Alien Babe Hunter? I'm not sure what
No.
it would be called.
But what's funny is what's an interesting tidbit, a bit of the tids, is that...
more trivia. I thought we were done. Thank God.
No, is that what is rarely mentioned about old Spades is how often he has ventured somewhat into the world of science fiction.
That's true. I haven't seen Alien Hunter.
We've got Alien Hunter,
Stargate.
Stargate. You've got Supernova.
Right.
You've got Starcrossed. Although you couldn't exactly call this science fiction.
I guess you probably, in a way that Starman is science fiction, I suppose.
Well, it's Starman meets Splash with no budget. That's what this movie is.
Yeah.
It's literally Starman meets Splash with no budget.
They even reference Splash
which was a bad idea, I feel.
Yeah, the guy from Homicide.
Much like the sweater that guy was wearing was a bad idea.
Yeah. Oh, great. Thank you very much. Magic. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
Also, that's a proper cup of tea. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Which side? The tea is in. The bag was in the hot water when it was poured. I did not have to put the bag in it afterwards, so I'm very happy. I'm quite tempted by the pulled pork sandwich, I have to say.
Yeah. Wow, they have a shepherd's pie and it's cheaper than the...
I had a shepherd's pie on my birthday when we went to the pub around the corner from us, and they had a shepherd's pie. I was not expecting all that much. It's the pub around the corner in New York. I didn't know they'd make it, but it was an amazing shepherd's pie.
Amazing. Was it amazing? So how come then we're sat here doing Starcrossed in the Square Diner instead of going to see a movie?
Because there's nothing really on, is there?
Well, except the behemoth that is the Avengers Infinity
Right,
trousers.
and we might have got... But then the review...
By the way, how much better would it be if instead of gloves it was trousers or a big hat?
What gloves?
Well, he's got an Infinity Gauntlet, isn't it? What if it was the Infinity hat?
Well, the Infinity trouser.
And he had to wear, like Noddy Holder has that big hat with the big Slash from Guns N' Roses.
I could be
and
wrong.
Noddy Holder. It could be like that, but the jewels could be in the band of the hat. They should get me on these movies too.
I'm going to say I could be wrong, but I think that even though the movies that you would make for Marvel would be unique, I'm not sure that they would be money spinners.
I
think they're doing all right. Do you know what I mean? I don't think anybody's looking around right now going, but how can we make more money?
Thanos' Infinity hat.
Well, I like Thanos' Infinity trousers.
Right,
that's the
but then it's like the wrong trousers. That's why I realised I wanted to veer away from it.
Your artistic integrity is admirable when it comes to your unworkable Marvel ideas.
Yeah, it could be Infinity pants. It could be his underpants.
It could.
Yes, to fill his underpants with glowing stones.
That sounds a bit just like he wants to get his rocks off. Do you know what I mean? Like I want you to make the stones in my Infinity trousers glow. I think it would probably get him arrested, wouldn't it?
No, I think that would be perfect.
Fair enough. Well, you're the boss, mate. You're the boss.
Do I want ham, egg, and chips, or do I want a greasy?
You've always got ham, egg, and chips. I'm going to get the pulled pork sandwich. I like the sound of the pulled pork sandwich.
I will do the fries, and I will sort it out.
All right. Oh, you're the boss, mate. Boss man beg. The boss of the after movie diner.
I'm gonna have a bison burger.
I am but an occasional guest, especially on Sleazy Spader Springtime. Right? I am going to be
so drop the bomb.
I am not going to be the full-time host on Sleazy Spader Springtime.
Why not?
Because I'm allergic to your dog, is why. Mostly. I'm happy to do this, but like we have these free. We basically have like free tickets to any movie we want.
Right.
And as long as there's a movie on that I want to see, I'd rather just go and see that movie.
Right.
And then talk rubbish about it afterwards.
Right.
Plus, I was a little bit disappointed by the Spader Fair last time.
Right.
Not our hilarious and award snubbed podcasts about the movies, which were amazing, obviously. But I didn't really enjoy watching the movies.
By awards.
We are. It's
all the time.
It's actually getting a bit tiresome.
It's a bit of a problem.
It's a bit of a cliche.
It is, really.
Snubs. It's getting to the point now that when the award eventually comes, it won't even mean
it won't ever mean
it won't even be like a triumph of the underdog. We'd have been waiting so long for it to happen.
Right. Well, because there was even that Rondo Awards where you can write in like a write-in award, and no one even wrote us in.
There was that sleazy website that you briefly voted like best.
I was.
Whatever.
That's
best
why
website or best podcast?
Best podcast.
Best podcast. Right. Award-winning podcast.
We are an award-winning podcast. Yeah. But since
not
then,
because of me, though. I'm pretty sure
but like
you won the award long before I started becoming a regular guest.
Like we discussed earlier, we peaked. We're in a state of unpeakedness.
Yeah, I am. I'm trying to think who I am.
Yeah, we had this whole thing last time about Ron Wood and actually we were totally wrong with both people.
Oh, really?
Well, no, Ron Wood was an ELO, but Roy Wood. See, I'm doing it again. Roy Wood was an ELO, but Ronnie Wood did start with the Stones.
So he was the
original member.
Well, who's the guy that wasn't the original member of the Stones then? Because somebody replaced Wyman.
No.
Somebody replaced Brian Jones.
But I think Wyman was the one who came on later, wasn't he?
No, Wyman was there from the beginning. Wyman, Jones, Richards, and Jagger.
Then I don't know.
There
Then
was one of
Let's
them.
not do this again.
I'm sorry. You're right. Yes. Can I get the pulled pork sandwich?
With fries?
I'm getting fries with my
No,
burger.
no. Yeah.
But why? You're going to have some of my fries?
Yeah. Not that many.
Well, I don't know how many fries I get.
All right, I'll have it with fries. Thank you very much.
You don't want to share with you?
No,
it does
I would happily
I'm
share.
getting that impression.
I'd
Yeah.
happily share if I knew the quantity, but I don't know the quantity, so therefore I'm hesitant.
Okay.
I would like to get a bison burger I'll have that deluxe, please.
Cheese?
I will have, yes, can I get Swiss and bacon on it, please?
Okay.
And
Medium? Well done, medium.
medium is good. And can I get a side of brown gravy with that,
Gravy
please?
on the side, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Drink? What you got?
I got my drink, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Cheers, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like sometimes,
No.
like when you go to Paul's, for example,
Yeah.
and you order a burger and fries, you only get like an
small little
individual.
bit of fries. Yeah, that's fair enough. And I
level
can't
fries.
for $2.50. I'm not sure if I'm going to get that many fries, but who knows? But at the end, we're right at the end of the diner day, so maybe
Yeah,
they'll
who knows?
stick everything they can get on the plane.
So-
So anyway, I apologise, but
last
my feeling is
year-
if you want Sleazy Spader Springtime to be like a full-on thing, you're better off going elsewhere. And then when
we've
go
only
to
really got a
movies-
couple more years worth of movies left to watch.
Well, I don't mind doing just like one every springtime. That's fine. That's up to you, mate.
Right, but I've got to fill out another 3 weeks with people via Skype.
It's not Sleazy Spader month, is it? It's Sleazy Spader Springtime.
Yeah, but people will be very disappointed if this year's Sleazy Spader Springtime was one film, and the film was a TV movie from 1985.
But that's what. But
Called
he's so
Starcrossed.
brilliantly.
He's a bebopping Christopher Walken in it,
But
which is
no.
completely mad.
I think it's better than that. I think because I have a theory about that because he's so wildly miscast. Right? We can agree that he was wildly miscast.
Well,
in this one.
so very, very quickly then.
Yes.
The plot is this. There is an alien woman on Earth who's being pursued by...
Your quick plots are rubbish, but crack on. No, they're very good, but they take the length of the movie to do.
There's an alien woman on Earth being pursued by two male aliens who are dressed up like, I don't know, leather S&M workers.
Right.
She, out of nowhere, bumps into James Spader, a mechanic, in quotation marks, considering we never, ever see him in a car shop at any point whatsoever. Right. And he decides when he's driving her home and takes her to a diner that he
Driving
is
her home in
literally
what? What does he drive her home in?
a large pink erect
It's a massive
cock.
car. I can't believe it was a huge, shiny pink car. I thought, there's no way that's not Spader's car.
Yeah, it's Spader's
That is
large,
Spader's car.
shiny pink
That's
cock.
probably Spader's fee. He's
Yeah.
like, I will do your TV movie if you buy me a large pink car.
Large pink cock drive
I
around.
have to drive it in the movie.
So, we don't know what town it's set in. It's never
Boston, I
established.
think.
But he is bebopping up his New York accent like there's no
I think
tomorrow.
he's trying Boston, isn't
No,
he?
he's not. Because at
not?
one point he says, forget about it, which is absolutely hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
And halfway through, he's talking like this.
Yeah,
and
he
you're like,
does.
what are you doing, Spader? It's completely bizarre.
Yeah.
And they fall in love.
Yeah.
She's being pursued. In the end, she goes home. There's literally no repercussions. The government kind of know about it, but that's it. Oh, and Spader becomes the most intelligent man on Earth because she transfers her brainwaves over to him.
I think you're missing perhaps the reason this whole movie was made,
Right.
which is that at some point James Spader was in a meeting with somebody and they were, listen, Jimmy,
Yeah.
we want to work with you. You're hot. You're a hot potato. You're a hot
Right.
Hollywood
He
potato.
wasn't yet, but okay.
In the mid
No, he
80s.
wasn't. This was before Pretty in Pink and
Oh,
some of
okay.
his other
All right.
stuff.
You're a lukewarm potato, but we think you might get hot in the future.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you want to do? And he said, I want to do a film where I teach an alien woman how to have really great sex.
Yeah.
And that's what the movie's about. Like really,
Right.
his sex is
Yeah.
so good
Yeah.
that it causes her to go back
Yeah.
to the oppressive regime that she fled from
Yeah.
in order to fight for her freedom.
Yeah.
He's literally pumped her full of courage. You know what I mean?
Pumped her full of...
It was so mind-blowing. She was
Spader
before, like, she did the, you know, she rolled in the hay with Spades.
Well, not only that,
She
but-
was frightened, and she was alone, and she was running. But one night of passion with Spades.
I understand where you're going
and
with
it totally changed her life. And that is why the whole movie was made, and that's what it's really about. He's so great at sex.
Right.
He saved a planet.
Right.
And that's why this, in my opinion,
Yeah.
is the most accurate. Like, this is Sleazy Spader Springtime in a nutshell, right?
Right.
Because they tried to make a film that they thought was like a touching love story between a lovable everyman and a beautiful fragile alien, and instead they made a film about a sleazy weirdo who's so good at knobbing that he saved a civilization.
A sleazy.
In fact, she described it as literally like heaven in the Bible. So conceivably, she is actually from heaven.
There was a lot of weird Christianity in the movie as well, which was sort of mad. Because if you're going to have a movie where your central premise is like aliens and science, and like he happens to, what I love is at one point they go to the planetarium, and an old woman comes into the planetarium and goes, "Wait, what's going on here?" Because you've just walked into the planetarium and started.
And he's like, "Oh, I'm a mechanic. It's all right. It's like Dumb and Dumber. It's all right. I'm a chauffeur.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all right. I'm a mechanic. I worked on your car once. I don't care."
And then she goes, "Jimmy," or whatever his name was, Joey
the mechanic.
Yeah, Joey.
Because I don't want to remember the name of my mechanic. Because if I remember their name, it means I've been there a lot.
Yeah.
And they talk to me,
Yeah.
so presumably bullshitting me and ripping me off.
But I got the feeling from the way that she suddenly remembered that maybe part of Spader's mechanic workshop, which we never saw, was that as well as working on your car, he also had sex with you. And I don't think it matters
and
what
afterwards,
age you are.
she went back to university and like solved, do you know what I mean? Some
planets.
astrological equation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That changed our knowledge of theoretical physics as we know it.
As we know it, because of
And
James
Spades is like,
Hey.
hey, all in a day's work for every man Spades.
And then he went away
and magic knob.
put
Could I just say,
a series of scarves.
At the end, something else you're going over here is that by having sex with him,
Right.
He like steals a little bit of her telepathy because he's
That's not what happens. She gives him the telepathy later in the car.
No, it's no. That's not what happens. It's because
She's driving along in the car.
Yeah.
At the very end, and she goes, "I'm going to pass my knowledge to you."
Yes, but that's true. But that's not.
And
that's,
then
no,
the brilliant thing about that.
The first time it happens is after when they're in the hotel room. All right, I'm sorry.
The brilliant thing about that is they're driving along to the spaceship. She's like, "I'm going to quickly, as we drive along, pass all the knowledge that I have of the universe to you," like that, right?
Right.
And as they're driving along, we presume that's happened, right?
Right.
And what's the first thing he says when he gets out of the car and looks at the spaceship, which is just a few neon tubes? He goes, "Wait, that's the spaceship." And I'm like, wouldn't you know that now because she's transferred all your knowledge?
Well, she had to be selective.
If we go,
presumably she decided to leave out things that when he goes, "What's that?" she can go, "That's a ship." Do you know what I mean? As opposed to, "So what's the meaning of existence?" She can go, "Oh, I've got to go."
Yeah.
So
But
I sympathise with that.
I think maybe
Yeah.
what's happening is that in his brain, so much of it is taken up with his sex that like not all of her information can get in. I think that's probably.
You think
what
that right now we're living in a world that doesn't have, do you know what I mean, sustainable energy, which she promised him in the car, basically because his head was too full of knobbing. So, but here's the thing, right? So anyway, that whole like telepathic translation, and then right at the end, like she's flown off and Spades is left there in the warehouse,
right?
And through the power of his mind, he makes a. Now, is anybody else terrified by the thought of James? Like Sleazy Spader being able to make people do things with his mind.
With his mind.
What is he going to do with that? Because it won't be save the world.
No,
I'll tell you that.
No, it won't be. I'd be surprised that there wasn't.
It'll be like she'll come back and it'll be like a post-apocalyptic sleaze fest with Spader like on a throne made out of, do you know what I mean?
Fake food.
And she'll go, "What did you do?" With you went, What? This is what you wanted, right? I forgot. I'll be honest. I forgot a lot of it. However,
Spader sat atop a throne of tits.
The
That's
sequel,
amazing.
Throne of Tits.
And coming up on NBC this fall, James Spader reprises his role as Joey the Mechanic in NBC.
James Spader is the one-eyed king, and I'm not talking about a man who's blind.
Yeah.
All right.
James Spader is the one-eyed king, and he doesn't wear a patch.
That's it. That's the slogan. That's the slogan. But that's what would happen. There's no way he's going to go out there. But okay.
Also, what a complete you know that she's on the run because she's just had to escape really quickly.
Right. That was a weird opening. Oh, here it comes.
No, I meant at the end.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Look at that.
Was great.
Perfect.
Terrific.
Any mustard, mayonnaise in me or just ketchup?
Just the gravy, please.
Gravy coming up.
Oh, and ketchup would be great. Yeah, thank you.
Do I need salt? We'll do that.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Cheers.
No, I meant at the end, she's on the run again. In fact, he has to do some very unconvincing rolls behind the car in order to defeat one of the bad guys who followed them to the warehouse. But why wait around? The government's coming, get in the car and drive away. But no, instead he goes, maybe I can move this with my mind and reveal to the government that I now have all these secret powers that they were trying to glean from her. So now he's going to be chased forever as well. Because he turns around and all the government are there, and I really wanted it to cut back to Spade and him go, whoops.
Thanks very much.
Thank you so much. Him to go, oh, damn it.
Damn it. Okay, so a thought occurred to me, and I'd be interested in your take on this, right? Okay, so he's obviously badly miscast in the movie, right? I don't know if him
what mechanic, right, do you know, A, drives around in a 1950s knob on wheels, but secondly, wears that amount of flouncy scarves.
Everything he wears flounces. His gloves, his scarf, his overcoat.
Gloves. What was his grey woolly gloves all about?
I thought they were pink. Afraid I was like, why is he... Okay, so this is my theory, right? I don't think he's a mechanic.
No.
All right.
Well, he's a sex mechanic, clearly. Clearly, he's a sex mechanic.
No, I think what he is he's like a rich, bored, really rich heir to a whatever. Like a toilet fortune or something. And what he does is he cruises the lower neighbourhoods of Boston. And when he bumps into women...
It wasn't Boston, dude. I've been to Boston.
Well, all right,
it's not Boston.
He cruises the lower neighbourhoods, pretending to be like an everyman when he picks up chicks.
Yeah.
And then he takes them back to his this is where I live. I'm an everyman at my high up apartment with no elevators with a quick escape route, so the police can't get up there. I mean, it's a sex dungeon, is what it is. It's a murder sex dungeon.
It is.
And I think what happens is he finds out.
It's a fifth story murder sex dungeon.
It's all fake, right? The reason why he doesn't convince us a mechanic at any point is because he's not. Really, he's a sex fiend. Right? And he's about to tie her up with that scarf and do hideous things to her. But when he finds out that she's an alien who can control things with her mind, he has to then spend the rest of the movie pretending to be this guy in this utterly exhausting turn of events.
Right. Also, what's the first thing she makes move with her mind to show him she's an alien? Balls. She wants to make Joey's balls move without touching them. That's what she's telling him.
But do you not think that's a likely explanation?
I think that's a very likely explanation.
Because there's no way Spader pulls off a lovable everyman, putting his sister through college.
What about his line? The best thing...
His mechanics overalls were pristine.
Pristine, not a single drop of grease on them.
And
Although weirdly,
why do his friends
they were white because there was a drop of something else on them. Because I'm telling you, he's a sex mechanic, not a regular mechanic. The only fluids that
I like that better. Because the other thing is that when they pull over the car and they go and they talk in their what must be their conspiracy alley or something, it's we'll just pull over at our conspiracy alley while we'll get out of the car, walk down the steps and hide in the shadows while we'll have our conversation.
Right.
Why can't you have this in the car or even the street? Why does it have to be? Because that's their conspiratorial sex corridor or whatever.
And why are none of you ever at work during the day?
I like your this is so good, the bread's dissolving.
Also, what's really weird is that what was I going to say? Damn it, lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry. Was it about being a sex mechanic?
No, I've already established that he's clearly a sex mechanic.
I do like your sex mechanic story.
He is. That's clearly what he is. We never see him do anything. Oh no, I was going to talk about the freedom speech that he gives.
That's so weird.
So because this takes place in the middle of the 80s, and because when they first meet her accent is wildly all over the place for most of the movie, actually.
Yeah.
Goes from Middle Eastern European, slick back haired, slinky woman in an alleyway to quite posh English to somewhere just outside Des Moines. It goes all over the shop. Anyway, he assumes she's from behind the Iron Curtain. In fact, he's like, hey, there must have been an iron curtain in your past, am I right? Like he's doing this whole thing. Then he sits down with her and starts to wax rhapsodic about America's great, freedoms in one of the most inspired scenes of delivery by Spader ever.
Yeah.
Why don't we start with names? Have a seat. But keep it simple, all right? First names only. Meet Joey. You?
Mary.
Mary? What, Mary is a Russian name now? What, like Jesus and Mary? You don't have the slightest idea what I'm talking about, do you? Look, I don't want to poke my nose in where it doesn't belong, but you got to give a little. You got to tell me what's going on, because otherwise I'm groping around in the dark. I'm running into walls and I don't know, stubbing my toes. You know what I mean?
Those men,
Yeah.
they want to capture me or kill me.
Kill you?
They have orders to bring me back. Alive if they can. It's to show the others that there's no hope in escape.
Well, listen, I don't know about that, but I'm telling you right now, all right? I mean, I don't care. I don't care if I die trying. I mean, these bums, and there's no way these bums are going to get what they came for, all right? I mean, this is a free country, all right? That I'm a free man, and as long as you're with me, you're free, all right?
I don't know why you're willing to do that.
Because where you come from, freedom's not a tune you whistle. But believe me when I say this to you, that once you learn that tune, there's nobody, not anybody that can take that away from you. Does that make sense?
And the thing that is meant to, that is his subterfuge. That is him going, I'm going to pretend that the thing that is inspiring you is my immense freedom, when actually the thing that's going to inspire you is my immense cock.
It's my knob.
Oh.
It's my sex ability. Because it's like, oh yeah, we don't have sex. Or, that was Spader's idea on set. He was like, what if she's never had sex? What if it's all artificial insemination on the planet? I teach her. It's so... However, can I just say this, right? I actually quite enjoyed it. Like, as a movie, I mean, I know it's utterly ridiculous, right?
Right.
And I know that it dragged horribly in places, and the special effects were obviously laughable, and I couldn't get over how badly miscast he was. He didn't convince at any point. However, it was quite kind of cosy, and when you realise it's just like a TV movie, you presumably tuned in at like 1 a.m, one morning lonely in a hotel room, it would have done the job for you. Do you know what I mean? And like, there's a part of me that's like, 80s America was kind of an interesting place, I think.
Well, the whole opening seems to... But the other thing about it that's fascinating as well is there's really no opening. Like, there's no establishment of anything. It literally starts with her running through an alleyway being...
She gets in his pink car, and they drive off, and they're having the montage sequence of, like, alien women on first trip in car, make silly faces and all the rest of it. But it's like, but nothing, we just met her. Right. You don't get the silly montage of them bonding in a car when they just met.
One of my favourite things was when he was like, don't worry, I know this town, I'll lose them. And then he
drove
into a car park. He drove into an underground car park. I'm like, this isn't losing them, this is getting you trapped. And then, also, the bad aliens were dressed literally like a softcore poor remix of The Matrix.
Yes.
They look like extras from like that Cinemax show, like Sex Files or whatever. It's like an X-Files ripoff.
My favourite bit in the whole movie, bar none. Oh, actually, there were two favourite bits, but the second favourite bit was with the fact that all the FBI guys like carry Uzis as standard.
Yeah.
And there's like when they chase them out of the street, there's just like this mob of like 15 guys, all really tightly packed together, running down the street all holding Uzis.
Yeah.
Like, these are the FBI. You go, the FBI don't run down the street like something out of West Side Story with Uzis.
No.
That's my second favourite bit. My first favourite bit was when Spader, like, in the morning, she's cooked him chili. When initially she's like pointing to the cupboards, I was like, she's like made him like a dead rat in washing up liquid or something, which I thought would have been an okay joke.
Because he doesn't live in like much of an apartment. It's only got like a little kitchenette. And she went, I found some things to make you breakfast from here, and pointed to like the 2 cabinets under the sink. Which
so
is
it's
where
not looking good.
No, you'd assume he's probably made a Clorox kebab or something.
Right. That's what I thought. But anyway, it's chili.
I don't know, with feather duster accoutrement.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, she made chili, which is great. Anyway, so they said, "Oh, stay here, and I'll go and get. I'm going to work." And then he's like whistling and going down the steps, of which we see all 5 flights. Going, don't skip out any flights, director. No. We need to see all 5 flights he's working.
Need to see all the flights. And at the end, he opens the door,
and the 2 guys are just stood there in the door, and he's like, "Oh my god!" and runs away. And goes, but my question is, how long were they stood there? And were they going? He's really going to get a shock when he opens it. Listen, Frank, I'm telling you, it's going to be worth it. His face when he opens the door, we're going to be right there. Couldn't we just bust the door down with our huge guns? That is not an acceptable...
It's not what's going to happen.
Where's the fun, Frank? We've flown so far. Where's your sense of adventure?
We've literally traversed galaxies.
Where's your comic timing?
And you want me to just walk in through a door?
Yeah. We wait until he comes out and he looks surprised, and then we'll very, very slowly walk up the stairs behind him.
But Jeff, we do have guns that could obliterate him from a block away.
I'm not interested. If you want to blow up his pink cock in the parking lot, that is fine.
They blew up his knob car. And you know what? That only fueled. It's almost like some of the knob car transferred itself into Spader's sex.
It's almost as if, no, I'll tell you what it is. Spader transferred there's too much sex in Spader for like one human skeleton.
Right.
So he had to like transfer somebody that had sex with his car.
Yeah.
Or something. In the same way that he nicked.
Oh, he definitely had sex with that car. Like, he had sex with it and in it.
But, like, if he had sex with her and then in doing so, like, transferred some of, like, her skills to him, he had sex with the car and transferred some of him into the car. So when the car was blown up, because that's what it was probably like grey or blue before, and then after he had sex with it, it was like this shining pink car. When it was blown up, it had to go back to him. And then it's uncontrollable again.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we going to do? That was like...
Then you could not keep the cork on the bottle.
What are we going to do? They could have subtitled the film, "What are we going to do with this excess sex?"
I still like the idea of calling it Spader Flouncy Sex Mechanic. I'm surprised he never made an album.
I love that scarf. That whole opening was deeply weird because they were like, his friends like hovering behind her. He's like, "Do you want me to, take you somewhere?" And they go, "Yeah, take us somewhere."
His friends were deeply weird as well. Like, really weird.
Yeah.
Like,
he was way too offended by the idea of, let's go to Vegas and cheat at cars. So that sounds like a fun idea, but he's like, I don't know, like he suggested they, use her powers to kill nuns or something. It was like completely out of context, his reaction.
I want you to go
Get out of
home.
here and don't come back.
Well, that's what I mean. And then occasionally there was this like weird Christian undertone. There was talks about heaven. There was like,
think about with God.
Do you believe in God kind of thing? And he's like, well, we believe in God. I've taken you to church loads of times.
You've been to church with me? One of those like, "Hey, Joey."
And I'm like, these guys are not church-going guys. And if they are, it's to pick up nuts.
Or like we in the fountain and cackle at God. God's powerlessness. But you're right, there's a lot of weird symbolism in the whole thing.
There was like 4 mentions of Christianity in a way where I'm like, whoever wrote this, like it's almost like someone at the network. Just nab a napkin over there. No, don't take...
No, because I need the fork. I want the fork as well.
Oh, okay. Someone at the network went, well, look, this is going out on Sunday evening at 7 o'clock. You better give the God folks some things.
You think that's what it was? The ABC?
Yeah.
I guess.
But it just doesn't ring true because nothing about the movie...
Well, they always like heaven, but it's been taken over by the enemy. That was very. The whole thing was fine.
Do you think we've taken a like really staunchly religious screenwriter's moralistic text about freedom of religion in America and angels from above and turned it into flouncy sex dungeon work?
Hey, listen, mate. We didn't do that.
No.
Only one man turned a pure-hearted Christian film about the power of faith and love to overcome all odds, and turned it into a flouncy sex mechanic. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Fucks the world into glory.
Yeah, like
Spades.
Coming on ABC next fall, sat atop a throne of tits. It's flouncy sex mechanic 2, starring everyone's favourite sleazemonger.
He's run out of cars to fix.
Yeah.
but not tits. He's run out of cars, but not tits.
Yeah. So he's run out of cars to fix, but never tits.
But not tits to lick? I don't know, something.
No, that's too gross. Because then I have to imagine Spader's tongue, and that is something no man should ever see.
That's true. But I thought it was suitably sleazy and weird, right?
Well,
when he takes her into the back room,
the sex scene,
behind the snooker, and he's like, he's a real sports nut. You're going, why? You want to have sex with her, aren't you? This is just your usual. This is your snooker room, back room, small talk, sex talk. Is what this is.
This was the thing I didn't understand.
This is what you take every time before you bone somebody. He's like, hey, can I borrow your back room? He's like, oh, more sex.
That's why Frank
cleaned up the last week's mess.
That's why Frank had that pleatherette love seat that he had, that black pleatherette love seat underneath his sports memorabilia in quotation marks.
Which is more like, look, I'm putting the leather chair in because it's easy to wipe, alright? You destroyed my favourite armchair.
I had a Parker Knoll that was in my family for 3 generations.
I have not been able to get the sex out of it. You turned it. How did you turn it pink?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Coming up on the Hallmark Channel, getting the sex out of Parker Knoll.
Do you think he keeps getting fired from jobs because inexplicably,
with Frankie
things he works
Dodgy
in,
Billiards McJones,
inexplicably things that he works with just turn pink overnight after he's mysteriously had to work late.
So, what I also don't understand is that not only does Spader drive around in like a big, expensive 50s knob machine, but also when he goes to his pal, who runs possibly the grimmest, like beigest as well, like the most beige pool club you've ever seen. Right, and
it's like a scene from EastEnders where you're supposed to have lost all hope. Like it was, you know what I mean? Like it was so. It wasn't even like.
It was the
artistically bleak. It was just like there is no meaning.
It was the billiard room at the end of the universe, run by Frankie McDodgy, sports themed.
Frankie, I used to have a Parker Knoll.
was destroyed by Spader's
and now everything is leather. Yeah.
When he went to see him, and he was like, I really need a car, and he's like, yeah, but I really love my paint job. He was like, don't worry, Frank, whatever. He then gets into Frank's car, and Frank's car is like this, like 50s
it's a weird Saab, isn't it?
No, it's a 50s redone dark green with a big light green lightning down the side. And I couldn't help but wonder if, in some previous iteration of Joey and Frankie's friendship, that they had doubled as like some sort of late night sex superheroes.
With different cars.
Where Spader rode in the big pink cock machine and Frankie had the little green lightning bug or whatever. And they like rode through the town, curb crawling and picking up strays.
Yeah, that makes sense. Keeping their overalls clean. But their Parker Knoll's filthy.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Spader did all the picking up and kept all the top totty for him, and Frank got like whatever.
Can you imagine what he's used that scarf for, or what those pink gloves have seen?
The After Movie Diner with Jon Cross will return right after this.
talking about whatever comes to mind. Ride up, chicken stand, ride up, chicken stand. You will not get less than the best from Owen and his guest. Ride up, chicken stand, ride up, chicken stand.
Yes, the Bride of Chickenstein podcast. Find it on iTunes and Libsyn, with host Owen talking to a variety of guests about a wonderful array of subjects. It's always fun and always engaging. Why don't you go check it out on iTunes or Libsyn, the Bride of Chickenstein podcast.
Come on, let's listen to Owen. It's time to get going. Let's listen to Owen. Ride up, chicken stand, ride up, chicken stand, ride up, chicken stand.
Hey there, bad movie fans. I'm Honor Knight, head cinematic flusher from the Soiled Restroom Cinema podcast. Do you like playing with cinematic turds as much as we do? Every Thursday, we scour the bowels of streaming media to bring you the absolute worst Hollywood has to offer. Get in on all of our flushing action at our home restroom on the net, signalsoffury.com, where you can subscribe to the show and follow us on social media. Soiled Restroom Cinema. We're here to flush it so you don't have to see it.
And now, here's your host, Jon Cross.
Jim Wallace, actually.
Okay, here's the question. What is the prop that is going to get into Spader's sex museum?
The makeup.
That was kind of a neat scene, though.
She put on that makeup.
Yeah.
But that was his design. That's what he... Oh, yeah. That's what he wears when he's in his trailer on the set of any movie. And you're not like...
So what's in the museum? It's like a mannequin's head, or...
No, dark things have happened while Spader has worn that makeup. Like, if you knock on his trailer, like 5 minutes, Mr. Spader, and he, like, opens the door and he's wearing that makeup, probably with a little bit of a streak in it from where he's been crying because of all the sex, then you know an animal of some kind has died, and there's probably been at least one or two, like, pentangles drawn, and it's really got hairy up in there.
So what's in the museum? Though? Is it like a dead body with the makeup on it, or is it?
Considering we've never heard of this actress, I think it's probably her actual hair.
Well, for me,
I think he has her actual taxidermed hair. Yeah.
I don't know if he's evil. Sometimes we disagree about this. You think he's evil?
Let's wait for this.
Okay.
I also know what else. I've got the other thing.
Okay. I've got two things too.
You're literally beeping because the guy stopped for...
Yeah, that's what he's beeping for.
And now they're all running through a red light because they were like, there's an ambulance, so I'm allowed to run a red light, right? Not how that works.
Right. So that's your...
I have another idea.
I think it's the exhaust pipe of
the car he knobbed.
car. And people will be like, why have you got an exhaust pipe? And he would just raise an eyebrow.
Yeah.
And they'd think about it for about 5 seconds and think, why is there
and then
an
they'd
exhaust
realize.
pipe? And then they'd know.
Yeah.
And he would get such a kick
Yeah.
out of making them. Not only like putting that mental image in their minds, but making them work for it too.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
definitely.
Like a slow, dawning realisation that they're looking at what once sheathed Spader.
And maybe a strand of the red scarf is just tied round it, ominously.
Or just like a stray pube.
Right. That,
Yeah.
and I think that leather skirt that she's wearing.
Yes. Because
Wait,
like,
there's-
it looked
there's
like
ties
she
up the
borrowed
back
that,
of it.
right?
No. This was early in the movie after she takes
No.
off that awful red pink jacket.
Because I
She's
thought
bent
initially...
over the
No, I
sideboard.
know exactly what you mean, but initially I thought that she'd like arrived in like alien clothes or whatever.
Well,
and then
alien
she's
clothes
like,
are
oh,
leather.
have you got anything to change into? And
That was
Spader's
later.
like... Oh.
That was after she had her bath.
No, I know what you're saying, but I'm saying because she'd been wearing the red coat up until that point,
Right.
I hadn't seen what trousers she'd been wearing. So when it like cut back,
Right.
and she was just stood in the apartment leaning, and I thought she'd gone, "Hey, have you got anything I can borrow?" And he went, "I just got a pair of these leather sex shorts. If you want to borrow those." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought they were his.
They might have been his.
But yeah, no, they could go in. I mean, personally, I think if he took, oh, thanks, man. If he took one thing,
Yeah, it's the exhaust pipe.
no, it's the pink gloves. I mean, it's surely got to be the
They were great,
the
dude. They were
inexplicably
pink.
weird. Okay, but whatever. Like,
But they were weirdly
They
fluffy.
used to be pink, and now they're grey. Do you know what I mean? They're grey
yeah.
with God knows what.
With God
frankly.
knows what.
But you know what I mean? They were so weird.
Also, what's funny is that you mentioning the gloves is that when they were doing the like goodbye hugging and kissing at the end when they were in the warehouse before she got into the, I don't know, neon art piece that doubled for a spaceship, which by the way was, on one hand someone thought a really good idea and on the other hand just monumentally lame and twatty.
I can't help feeling that they said to him, don't worry, we'll fix it. That's a classic, we'll fix it in post. When Spader's like, is this the shit?
Yeah.
What am I involved in here?
Right.
And they went, don't worry. Maybe he kept that for his sex dungeon.
Yeah. And he's like,
Sex museum.
yeah, maybe he convinces people that it will take them to other planets.
Well, really, he's just going to have sex with them. And they would go, see, I told you that I'd take you to another planet. And they're like, that's not what I meant, Spades.
Yeah. And that was disturbing, watching you mine that out.
Yeah, okay, that could go in the sex museum.
But yeah, it was deeply weird. As a movie, it was deeply weird.
I kind of enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it because what
it did keep moving forward.
we've seen movies
Yes.
with Spader,
Yes.
which could have needed Spades beansing it up to the max.
Yes.
And instead, he just kind of drawls and sleepwalks through them.
Yes, he's not
And you're
sleepwalking.
like, if only Spader gave it to the cheap seats.
Yes.
Literally gave it to the cheap
Yeah.
seats one by one.
Yeah.
If he did
And
that,
by it, we mean his knob.
then this particular movie, whatever the movie it is we're talking about, would have been a lot better, right?
Right.
What's interesting about this is nothing around Spades warrants the fact that he is like belting this out in full-blown bebop walking
it
genius.
doesn't. I mean, unless they went to him, look, could we have more walking?
This was like
It's really...
this was like James Spader playing Walken via Peter Weller. Like I couldn't, like it was, I was watching it and I was like, none of this makes any sense, and yet it makes all the sense in the world if he's a flouncy sex mechanic.
That's true. If he's a flouncy sex mechanic, it
Right.
does make sense.
Right. But if he's Joey, the regular mechanic who believes
I
in
think it's 'cause
truth,
there's, like,
justice, and freedom,
to be fair,
it doesn't make any sense.
To be
at all.
fair to Spades, if we like, I mean, look, we all know that like Spades is a flouncy sex mechanic, right? Like in reality,
Right.
but he's also an actor,
Right.
and I think one of the things
Is he though, or have we just seen his autobiography played out in some of the most disturbing?
like sometimes from the future.
Yeah.
He's a time traveling sex mechanic.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so a time traveling sex mechanic. But one of the reasons he's doing like the full walking, one of the reasons he's going like that insane about it, is because he's got all this space to fill up.
Right.
She has no dialogue.
No.
There's no like they're sitting in like necessarily like quiet places.
It's all beige and concrete. All
Yeah,
of it
there's
is like
nothing going
beige
on.
concrete.
Thanks so much. That was lovely.
There's no production budget whatsoever.
No, there's like two other characters in it who kind of drift in and drift out.
The
and that's
person
basically
who
it.
made it believes that billiard balls bounce, which they don't.
No, and by the way, that was the least impressive of all the special effects they could have done.
I don't know, Spader looking around at a lot of like bouncing balls I had a particular chuckle during that whole sequence.
I liked how blown away he was by like balls. I know it's really annoying. It's like turn out.
Yeah, I know, but we'll probably be really annoyed.
Well, that's true. That thought did also cross my mind. How blown away he was by like balls just like dropping into pockets.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Also, she didn't do anything with any energy.
No, she was. It was an odd role for her to be
Like, we're meant to believe that she's a naive virgin space alien looking for Spader Knob, who's escaped the enemy, whatever the
Clutches
enemy
of the
is,
enemy.
which is
What they want is not.
well, they want to subdue the sex. That's what they want to do.
No, but they've already done that. Maybe they want to introduce the sex.
No, Spader introduces it. Spader introduces the sex to her, and she goes back. She's essentially going back to her planet to have sex with everybody. It would be like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and instead of releasing the children and running into the thing and the water coming back to the village,
right?
She gets back, has sex with everybody, and the water returns to the village.
I don't know if it's possible.
Well, that's otherwise why come to Earth and put up with Spader's flouncing for more than 30 seconds before going, could you just pull the car over here and I'll be fine?
Literally anybody else on planet Earth would be more helpful for what I need than you. What I need is, I need a plan, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because she goes back there with other...
She's like, I'm going to wander around this city at midnight being pursued because I might find someone. Rather than, I don't know, going to the military and being like, could you help me? Yeah, this was all fantastic.
Yeah, it's lovely. Thanks very much.
Anything else?
Could I have a top up of my soda?
No problem.
Thank you.
I'm alright, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the...
Or even, I don't know, go find a cool private detective, or, I don't know.
But that's the thing, isn't it? Like, the purpose of the movie is that what she doesn't have, apparently, is any courage. Which, given that she, like...
Escaped the
planet and ran away from, like... So there's something to work with there, at least. And his courage is more like an unrealistic grasp of the gravity of the situation. It's like, that's not courage. Going, I'm not going to let him touch you. I'm gonna yell at the exploding car. Yelling at an exploding car is not a plan.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
At one point
George Washington didn't, like, yell at exploding cars.
At one point, he literally says he's willing to die for her, and she's only just met him, and she hasn't even...
Yeah, that happened on the first night. There wasn't even any nobbing. Yeah?
Right, she hasn't even given him so much as a backyard handshake. She's not so much as given him a fire escape BJ. There hasn't even been
But then maybe that's how he gets...
a fifth-story dry hump. There hasn't even been a fifth-place dry hump.
That's the point, isn't it? Like, it's all pure, you know, right up until the filth begins.
But even
and the filth changes... In fact, that could have been...
Even when the
that
filth
could have been
begins.
the subtitle of the movie. The subtitle could have been The Filth Changed Everything.
Yeah, except
Spader's filth changed
we should
the world.
add that the sex scene that is pivotal to her change of heart, trousers, and everything
deeply strange.
Is deeply strange and very it's I don't know.
It's obviously PG, but
why is he emerging like? She's lying down. Why is he emerging?
Yes, that was deeply strange,
like above her. Because there's at one point there's the Spider-Man kiss, right? The inverted kiss. She's lying down, facing upwards. He comes over and like kisses her, like.
Especially she's like, you must show me how it's done, and the first thing is like him doing it weird.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
She's like, show me how normal people do it, and then he does something that's so abnormal and weird that makes the entire audience go, wait, have we been doing it wrong?
Or actually, it's more like, listen, we obviously can't show you anything, but this is just a taste of how weird it is with Spader.
This is his
This
first
is just a taste of how weird Spades likes it.
Also,
the first thing he does is tie you up and then come at you from the wrong way. And that's the best it gets.
The first thing he does is insist you take a bath. That's the first thing he does.
But he doesn't want to see your boobs.
She's taking a bath. Yes, a bath.
That was kind of weird, like putting a small towel over her boobs.
Right.
He doesn't avert his eyes. He grabs a tiny towel and then manhandles her boobs like, into the towel.
Right.
You go, I think that's probably worse, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Just turn around and go, in every other movie.
Well, because
but not in a Spades movie.
Well, because
in a Spades movie,
the first take,
disapproving of boobs, the first thing you do is you grab hold of them.
The first take of the
just have a good old grab.
The first take of the scene, she removed her top, and Spader didn't stay there. Like and Spader just stood there, like staring at them with a single droplet of drool from his lower
and there was
lip.
like a really long pause.
It was a really long pause.
Went, okay, cut, and Spade went, we're not done. Scene's now over. Let's do a few more minutes here.
The writer and the director came over and went, no, you're a pure freedom lover. And they're like, Spader's like, you've really got the wrong actor for this film.
He said, no, I get it. All right, take two. And then, goes on again. No, cut. You're supposed to put the towel over. Right, towel over. Got it, okay. And then,
No, I think the towel...
2 days later, take 342.
The towel over her boobs was the compromise they finally came up with. The producer and director did not want her to take her top off at all, right? And Spader wanted her to be completely naked and him sit on the toilet. He is also naked, but he sat on top of, which is disturbing because he's like completely naked, but sat on top of the toilet lid, like not with the toilet open, but with the toilet down, and he's just sat there staring at her while she's naked,
Squatting.
taking a bath,
But still wearing the gloves.
Yeah. And they're like, okay, we've got to scale this back, and he's like, all right, I'll just stand there.
I'll put my socks on.
I'll stand there, and she takes her top off, and they're like, we've got to scale it back, and he's like, all right. If I'm not going to see them, I get to manhandle them with a towel.
I get to maul them.
And that we can work with.
It is in my contract that I get to maul bosoms. Now, I don't care how you go about making that happen, all right? But if there are bosoms for me to maul by the end of this shooting day, I'm walking off this picture.
I love the idea that there was like.
Can you imagine what Spader's contracts really are? What they look like? It's like a bowl of brown M&M's for Spades.
I love the idea that there was like a writer's room on the movie or like a TV executive lounge or whatever, and they're all in there trying to make this, pious, freedom, America, naive, virginal movie about God and wonder and all the rest of it. And he keeps coming in, being like, I've read today's sides, and at no point do I horribly molest.
Where's the boob mauling scene? You told me.
They're like. He's like, how am I supposed to show people that I'm a flouncy sex mechanic? You've taken out all the bit, all
of my award-winning ideas.
All I've got to work with is this scarf and this upside-down kiss.
What did it?
And they're like, believe me, we've seen the upside-down kiss. It's gonna let people know. And the big pink car. He got the scarf, the big pink car, the gloves, the upside-down kiss, and the boobs. That was his.
Do you think like Sean Connery brought on Clement and Frenet, from Hancock and whatnot, on a couple of his movies, like punch up the dialogue?
Yeah.
Do you think Spader has his own sex writer gnome, like Alphonse? He's like, we must let Alphonse take a pass, and he punches up. The car's got to be pink.
He's like, Alphonse, now what we have to work with. He's like, this might be the hardest thing we've ever done.
And Alphonse is like, I could use that.
And Alphonse is like, you're forgetting.
That's what Alphonse is like,
You're forgetting about that time in Belize. And Spader goes, you're right, I am forgetting about Belize. But anyway, this is the second hardest thing we've ever done. We've got to take a PG, Christian, made-for-TV movie and turn it into something that...
How I sex the world to glory.
Thank you. James Spader, Sex for Glory.
Yeah. In fact, that's what there's a bit when she comes back and she's got a bit of the Voyager satellite. The next Voyager satellite is just going to be Spader in a satellite. Just actual Spader, and he'll get out on the alien planet and wave his knob around. This is the best humanity's got to offer. Come and get a load of it. Do you have anything I can have sex with and turn pink?
Oh, it's good. I think that's probably right. But I agree that Alphonse,
the Spader puncher, the sex punch-up. The sex punch-up.
He does the sex punch-up. And he's got to be, he's not quite a dwarf, and he's not quite just a small guy. He's weirdly in between, and you can't quite tell.
He's hunched.
He's definitely
He wears his trousers really high, the belt, up under there. Plus with the hunch, you've got literally no idea.
It's an old school tie.
Yes.
Spader's
from a school that was long closed due to a series of scandals that were never sufficiently explained, but soon after Alphonse left the building.
And what it is that Alphonse also curates the sex museums.
Alphonse is definitely the curator. He's like, who's this guy? He's my oldest friend. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He was with me on all of my best pictures. And he's got a little booth. He takes tickets.
He looks like you haven't seen it.
And he hands over every ticket by licking his finger in a really long, obscene way.
Yeah, he looks a bit
peeling
like
off a ticket and then making you take the ticket that's dripping with Alphonse saliva.
Charles Fleischer, he looks a bit like that guy.
The
guy who does Roger Rabbit's voice with the curly haze in Zodiac as the weird guy who has the Zodiac, who has like the weird, where he goes to the poster and says, "This is the closest to Zodiac's handwriting we've ever come across." And he's like, "Well, that's funny you say that, so and so. I wrote this poster." And then like Gyllenhaal gets really scared, and then he takes him down to the basement, and he's like, "There's someone else in this house," because he can hear the floorboards creaking. Do you know what I'm talking about? Or
I only saw it once.
It's like one of the greatest movies ever. How have you not seen it?
I've only seen it once.
Well, watch it again.
Oh, okay.
And that guy who does the voice for Roger Rabbit, he is Alphonse, but a little more hunched and slightly boily. Like he's got to have an undescribable rash that runs from the middle of his forehead on the right down to the top of his cheekbone, and you're not meant to mention it. Spader's like, you can talk about the hump all you like. He's happy with the hump, but don't talk about the rash.
Don't talk about the rash.
Don't mention the rash. He may or may not have got it from me in Belize.
Also, don't ask what is in the ointment that he puts on the rash.
Never ask.
Because I don't want to know. I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
He didn't buy it in any store.
He didn't buy it in any store. It gets mixed up.
All I know is there's a cauldron
Yeah.
in his office.
No, it's not a cauldron. It's an old dirty coffee cup.
No, that's where he puts it in.
That he gets construction workers to
No, please don't.
line up and...
No, that's too much.
That's too much?
That's too much. Even for the Spader Sex
Even
Museum.
for the Spader Sex Museum.
That's
But Alphonse...
curated by Alphonse the Sex Punch
Alphonse the
artist.
sex punch artist. And do you think that, like, when he does a movie like Secretary and Crash, that the directors just went, for this one, we're going to let Alfonso run amok?
Yeah.
Or do you think that actually they were a couple of movies where he could take a break because he didn't have to add anything to them?
I think what happens is they lock him,
pre-sleaze.
when they're done with it, they lock him in the writer's room, and they, like, overnight,
Yeah.
and they come back the next morning and they open up the door and there's like a naked sweaty Alphonse surrounded by like scrunched up bits of paper like stuck to the wall.
Yeah.
And that, you have to peel it off the walls, but that's the script.
Yeah.
And so for the rest of the movie they have to work with this like crumpled up,
Oh, definitely.
like
Yeah.
damp
Yeah.
script,
Yeah.
and that's
But
the Alphonse pass.
But do you think that Crash came to him pre-sleazed, or do you think David Cronenberg went, James, just for you, we're going to let Alphonse, like, Cronenberg came to him and went, I want to do a body horror about, like, car crashes and accidents, and I want to make it, like, tense and horror film. And James went, it's funny, ever since I did Starcrossed, I want to do a movie where people have sex with cars. And Cronenberg went, I tell you what, how about this? How we combine the two, we do accidents and sex. Spader went, I'll get Alphonse on it. And then he wrote...
No, he probably went, you want to do 4 accidents? That's... there you go. There's Alphonse is like 80, script number 86.
Yeah.
Is where I have sex with accidents.
That's how it is. They changed it from sex with accidents to crash. That was the...
It's like already written. Yeah. They were already written, mate. Secretary was like already an Alphonse.
And they went, but it's... We've got to class it up. How do we class it up? Say that it's based on a novel. I'll have Alphonse whip it out over the weekend. Give it a fake name.
Yeah, J.G. Ballard owes me a favour. He can stick his name on it, even though he's written literally nothing like this before or since. He needs, I happen to know, he needs the money. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me what he needs the money for. Can't divulge that. However, he needs it. And he owes me a
so
favour.
not only that, but Alphonse knocked up the novelisation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they released the movie.
Yeah.
I think we've got to the bottom of it. I think, however, the only addition that Alphonse added to Secretary, I think most of Secretary was already what it was.
Okay.
And Alphonse read it and went, I really can't do much with this, except I want her to urinate in the wedding dress. And Spader was like, that's why do I feel very strongly that she has to soil the wedding dress. And Spader was like, I'll ask the director.
I don't never second guess Alphonse. His instincts are impeccable.
Yeah. I think everything else was already in the script, and when he added the P, the director was just like, sure, that's
whatever's going to get Spader's on board. Whatever's going to get Spader's on board, Spader on board, and Alphonse out of my office.
Right, yeah.
Seriously, can you get him out of my office?
Get him out of my office. But Alphonse definitely came up with the blacked up G gravity sex and supernova.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that might. In fact, a lot of that script did feel like patched together.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was like a pretty straight-ahead script.
Yeah.
They just ripped bits out of and replaced with Alphonse's
And
like
Spader's
zero-gravity sex picture.
Spader's like, Alphonse is a genius. He's given me dark hair, which is not something I usually play with, but I'm willing to go along with it. And he would like me to be shirtless, even though I have like faint ginger pubic chest hair. With my dark hair, the image of that will be so obscene that it will literally add a whole
But
new
it's also
layer.
like, it's difficult to know why it's obscene, but it seems to trouble people at a base level.
It does.
And that's why I enjoy
That's
it.
why I want it. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we've agreed. We want the exhaust from the car.
Yeah, definitely.
The gloves.
The gloves. Well, no, I don't think the gloves.
The scarf.
I don't think the gloves. I think a strand of the scarf.
Okay. I don't
Maybe
know about...
whatever's left of the scarf is like, no, whatever's left of the scarf is shoved crudely into the exhaust pipe in a way that's
Yes, I like
disturbing.
that. Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's the exhaust pipe with
Well,
the
he
scarf
used,
shoved
he
into
used
it.
the scarf to lube it.
Yes, that makes sense. Although that's actually what my initial thought of for the grey gloves was. It's just for lube, isn't it? It's just lube gloves.
No, but he's shoved the scarf in there, used some of Alphonse's ointment, and occasionally when he's feeling nostalgic.
I don't either that or it's the white mechanic outfit, right, which just hangs pristine white in the museum.
Right.
And I all
What's this here for? You think it's pristine white until you look really closely and realise it's
no. When you visit it, he hands you a black light,
right,
and you scan it over the overalls, and you see all the obscene stains that really exist.
Well, it's all one big stain. I mean, really, it would just glow pink.
It's like a Jackson Pollock.
It would glow pink,
yeah.
with the neon light.
Yeah. And that's what's in the museum.
Yeah. Well,
thanks for having me on, man.
It's good. I hope that whoever wrote this movie listens to this. Went, oh, someone's covered my movie Starcrossed from 1985, the one about Christianity and angels.
Oh, that's like when we covered, what was the Christian Slater one?
That was Stranded, and the producer said, we really loved your song from it, and then said he was going to go and listen to the podcast.
And then we called him
And in the podcast, we didn't call him anything. You said he must have been like high off his tits on cocaine.
Well, I probably wasn't like a million miles away from the truth. Well, at least we were. Well, but then the people who did the trust listened.
Yes.
And we liked their movie.
We did, and I interviewed them.
Yeah. So we did. We've done okay so far. So, but yeah.
Well, it evens out. You've insulted one lot of people and celebrated another lot of people.
Yeah. Well, that's the way I go. I'm very fickle.
You are. And with the honking of the annoying horn,
and my fickleness,
and your fickleness, and Alphonse the hunchback,
we bid Alphonse and the James Spader sex mechanic adieu.
Adieu. And
for another week.
Do we think people check out Starcrossed on YouTube, or is it? Can it only be a massive?
I would say if you're.
What about when we didn't talk about it, but what about when the aliens kill the old woman at the trash heap for no good reason?
I mean, that was kind of upsetting. Not that I really cared.
No.
She didn't really die. She wasn't really there. It wasn't a great effect. I would say if it's late at night, or if you're a bit ill, do you know what I mean? If you've got the flu and you're just looking for something just to pass the time,
right.
It's just got that kind of pleasing. Like, you don't have to engage your brain, TV movie that like just kind of keeps you rolling along,
right.
kind of thing, which I do kind of like sometimes. So I wouldn't say no, and I did quite enjoy it. And I don't always, and that's my big problem with Sleazy Spader Springtime last year, was I didn't actually enjoy watching the movies for the most part. But I did quite enjoy watching this one.
I think it's because the first four that we did,
they were really fun, like the Jack the Ripper one. And they were okay, and Supernova even. They were like fun, watchable movies.
Well, and Storyville was incredibly sweaty and sleazy.
Which one was Storyville again?
The one where he was like the southern guy running for office, and he ended up getting caught on camera having sex.
But the ones from last year were a bit like White Palace was a bit po-faced, and what were the other ones? I can't even remember. But they were all right. I didn't really enjoy them.
What did we do? We did White Palace. And some other ones.
I can't remember what they were. But they weren't great.
The New Kids.
Have you seen The New Kids?
Yeah.
What was The New Kids?
He weirdly decided to wear a lot of country and western shirts and dye his hair bright white.
Oh, yeah. And there was a horror one? Like with a fairground?
No, that's Dream Lover. And it had a flashback. No, he was having a dream in...
No. There's one... Wasn't there one? No. It was like an old one. It was like from the early 80s.
That's the Funhouse. He wasn't in that.
Wasn't he?
No, you're thinking of the New Kids. In the New Kids, they run a fairground.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of then, yeah. Oh, yeah, because the New Kid's in town and he's the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, I didn't really... That one wasn't great. But Dream Lover was weird and cool. And, I mean, like, it wasn't a great movie, but it was, like, sleazy and weird, and that's kind of what we wanted. But the four we watched last year were just kind of a bit dull. Whereas this one was not terribly sleazy, but just weird.
You could imagine the sleaze that was going on.
The sleaze was bubbling under the surface like you would not believe, and that's why I quite enjoyed it.
Popping and winking.
So maybe if there's more...
In the mortal...
Maybe I'll be back. But honestly, I don't mind doing the way we did it, and I didn't have to, like, sneeze at your dog. So I'm happy doing this kind of thing again. And we can do this if we know there's not a movie on. I'm happy doing that. But
right.
I'd rather go see a movie.
Right.
And on that thrilling note,
this week's After Movie Diner has concluded. What's the damage?
Stewie, never mind what happened to my car, all right? I mean, I just need yours, okay? All right, look, no more questions, all right? Yeah, right. And noon will be good, all right.